Amelia, we have to go. But we're leaving Diggory behind. We have to go back for him. Forget Diggory. We gotta go now. All we have is this book. That's not enough. We were supposed to get the wormling. The dragon wormling can wait. Who knows, the dragon wormling probably fled just like us. We need to go back for Diggory. No. Are you crazy? Are you mental? Don't you know Liana's after us? Who knows where she is? What's that? It's Liana. So you two thought you could just run away from me. You know, the members of the Dark Torch used to be a lot tougher. And smarter, actually. We've heard enough, Liana. We're tired of you and Augustin screwing up our plans. Oh, screwing up your plans, huh? What did you think you were going to do with the little dragon wormling? You thought you were going to get away with him? Not on our watch, especially mine. I suggest you drop the book in your hand, Ulrich, or I will shapeshift into unimaginable creatures you've never seen and just crush your armor by one little step. Ulrich, just give up the book and let's go. Then we go back empty-handed? That's suicide. We'll deal with it later. We'll tell them what we know. We know of a book. We know about Augustin and Liana knowing about this area. And I'm pretty sure that Dragon Wormling flew out of the noble manor. Well, fine. We'll be back though, Liana. Trust me. Oh, I have no doubt of that. But we know now in the council at Egress of what the members of the Dark Torch is doing. We're going to keep an eye, or shall I say eyes, on you. Come on, Ulrich. Let's go. We won't see the last of us, Liana. Goodbye. And don't forget to leave the book. What is that? The dragon wormling did run away. I gotta get it now, while I could still see it. Hello everybody, this is Moses from Wilona's Cave, and we're going to be continuing the story of our group of adventurers. They're still in the Noble's Manor, in that room, the one that Diggory ran out of the room, and so forth. If you want to watch the previous episode, I'll link it up now, or if you were just starting, I'll link up the first episode in the description or later on in the video, so you can see those if you'd like, if you want to start the story instead of being, so far into it, you may get lost. So we're going to use the system here called Owlbear. I've used it before, I like it, and I have to get more efficient and more effective with my storytelling and my tabletop RPGing. It's quite difficult. I mentioned before doing this with children. So even with the dice tray, they want to pull the dice tray, they want to pull the camera. So we're going to just use the dice tray that comes with the system. So we're going to still do everything the same, it's just the dice tray is here now. So we're going to start off with the scene setup, how I started the scene. Scene setup number 7 for the group of adventurers. The sheriff meets the team. This is the scene that I want to do. The sheriff meets the team and tells them about a secret in the dragon's cave. Not Wilona's cave, the dragon's cave. There's a separate cave in this area, close by. The sheriff previously sent her deputy, but has been missing for about a few days now. If you remember in the early episodes, that the deputized sheriff has been missing for a while. We're finding out now through the scene setup that the sheriff sent the deputy to that cave, and that deputized sheriff hasn't returned yet after a few days. So that is our scene setup. So let's roll with the Mythic Game Master Emulator to see if it is modified. We are chaos factor of 5, so 5 or less, it is modified. Let's see. Let me get the D10. I believe it's a D10. Yes. So when I pop in the dice, that isn't the roll. I'm gonna re-roll. So there'll be a logo here or an icon here to re-roll. So when I pop in the dice, that's not the roll. So let's see. So let's roll a 1. So it was the same as what it was. So it is modified, and a 1 is an odd number, so it's an altered scene. Good. We're getting a lot of altered scenes. That's good. Interrupt scenes are really hard to do on the fly. So an altered scene. So something got altered in this scene. And what got altered was the sheriff I had thought of knew a little bit of information about the cave, like if the dragon is still alive, if the dragon is dead, so forth, that she will get information out of, or we could ask her with Mythic Game Master Emulator. Yes or no answers. Extreme yes, extreme no. So what's altered is the sheriff has no information at all about this cave, other than it's just there, and that she sent her deputized sheriff to go investigate that cave, probably to find out if the dragon wormling is there in the past days. Who knows? So Damarra the Bard here is going to speak with Gorm about Kipper in the mountains, in Demelza Mountains. That's another series of mine if you'd like to watch. Kipper is a gnome. That's all I'll leave to it. If you want to watch it, I'll link up a video now, either in the description or on the video right now in an info card. So anyways, so Damarra speaks with Gorm. Gorm, do you think we can get to Kipper in time? He might be the only chance that we have to get into Wilona's cave. Or anything for that matter, if the Dark Torch is all around. You know his powers, Gorm, better than anybody. Do you think he can do it? Then Gorm replies, yeah, Kipper's smart. Has fooled Gorm many times. Why do barbarians have to sound like they're stupid or something? Like, is there a smart barbarian? Maybe one day I'll give him like a little bit more on intelligence or something. I don't know. So Avon comes over and adds his 2 cents. Like I mentioned, it is very difficult to even get around Wilona's cave. I could only see it from a distance. Even with all the spells that I have, I still cannot get even close enough without being in danger. Then Damarra says, well, then it's settled. We need to get to Demelza Mountains as fast as possible to get to Kipper. Time is of the essence. So at that moment, you hear somebody outside the door, this door. This door goes to the outside of the manor, where Diggory broke through the door. So you hear someone calling through the door. Who are you? State your names. And Gumach here heard who that was. Sheriff Corfell, is that you? And the sheriff walks in through the door. Oh goodness, Sergeant Gumach, you made it. Gumach looks in amazement at the sheriff. Sheriff Corfell, how are you even standing? You've been sick for so long. Augustin and Liana came and saved me. Then Sinathel heard that and walked closer to the sheriff and asked, Liana was here? The sheriff replied, yes. She had herbs that saved me. There was some type of poison they fed me. There were members of the Dark Torch that worked as servants here at the manor, and they fed me something that tasted foul. And within matters of minutes, I was on the floor with my stomach hurting. The pain was immense. And after that, I couldn't feel my legs. I became paralyzed. Thank goodness Liana came in time with that concoction she made of the herbs in the forest near us. You can see that Sinathel had a different facial expression now. One that almost looked like sadness. Damarra walks closer to Sinathel, noticing that Sinathel doesn't feel all herself at this moment, and Damarra knows why, of course. Damarra speaks to Sinathel. Sinathel, are you okay? Sinathel just shakes her head. Damarra continues. How long has it been since you haven't seen Liana? Sinathel slowly looks up at Damarra and slowly looks at the rest of the group. Ever since they've taken Violet from us. I haven't seen Liana since. I've been traveling this land with you all these many years so I can find clues to get Violet back. Sergeant Cornfell came closer and asked, "How do you know Wilona?" Sinathel replied, "She is my sister." So Sergeant Cornfell goes closer to Sinathel and says, "Are you Sinathel, the great druid?" And Sinathel looks at Sergeant Cornfell. "What do you mean, the great druid?" And the sheriff replies, "We've heard of many stories about you. You are the sister of Wilona, correct?" Sinathel nods her head in agreement. "We heard that you can turn into amazing beasts from all around the world, that you have traveled many realms and learned the essence and studied the animals of those lands." And Sinathel said, "Well, what you have heard is correct, but no matter how many powers I have or how many creatures I can turn into, I still haven't found the answers that I'm looking for." And Sergeant Cornfell added, "Well, there might be a lead I can give you. There is a dragon cave here. I'm not too sure if the dragon is still alive or not, but I sent my deputy when I was ill. He has not returned yet, and it's been many days. I am worried for him. There might be clues in that cave as to where your sister has gone." And Sinathel looks at Sheriff Cornfell. "He might be right. I did not know of such a cave." The sheriff replies, "The cave has been hidden. There was some gnomes and dwarves that lived in that cave as well, prior to the dragon living there. Their knowledge of illumination spells were great. No one knew for centuries that there was a cave, other than Wilona's cave, near us of the town of Acton. But not so long ago, the dwarves and the gnomes mysteriously disappeared from that cave, and hence the illumination spells have wore off. So now we know about the cave, but we have not entered. You might find some secrets there, Sinathel." So Sinathel looks at the team and says, "Can we all go to this dragon's cave before we go to the Damarra Mountains?" And the sheriff says, "Well, it's on the way to the Damarra Mountains, so it might be good to stop by. All I ask is if you see my deputized sheriff, please let me know. And if he needs help, please help him. I will remember this and return the favor greatly." Damarra agrees. "Yes, of course, if we see your deputized sheriff, we will help him." Then Sergeant Gumach said, "I wish I can go with you to this dragon's cave, but because of all that is happening, I must stay here to protect the town of Acton." And the sheriff agreed. "Yes, Sergeant, we need you more than ever. Please go back to your post. I'm going to finish some stuff around here and make sure everybody's okay, and then I'll meet with you at the front gate." And Gumach says, "That is a good idea, Sheriff. I will go now. And to all of you adventurers, thank you for all your help, and I wish you the best and safe travels. I hope we meet again." And Damarra and Avon and Gorm and Sinathel all shake the hands of Sergeant Gumach, and they part ways. Well, as Sergeant Gumach said, I wish you all safe travels. Please return safely, and please let me know if you see the deputized sheriff. Farewell." And Damarra replies, "Farewell." And so does Avon. "Farewell, Sheriff." And now let's get going. The team is headed to a new cave, the Dragon's Cave. Hasn't been entered, as we know, it hasn't been entered by outsiders for hundreds of years. So maybe not. We'll find out when we get there. Let's change up the map now, and let's go. So now our adventurers have arrived at the Dragon's Cave. They haven't really stepped too far in. They're a bit timid because they're not too sure what they may find here. Do you blame them, really? They can see that there's a passageway to the right, there's a passageway to the left, and there's a passageway directly forward on the top. They do not know what's in those passageways. It's too dark in those locations to see that far. So let's go to Mythic event meeting, action and subject, the D100 on each one, and let's see why the dwarves and the gnomes left, or why they presume that they've left. How do they really know they left if no one's ever entered this location. So let's see why they did leave. So let's roll for an action. Remember, the first, when it drops in, it's not going to count. It's my reroll that will count. So this number doesn't count. Let's re-roll it. 16. So the action, 16, inquire. And now the subject, 24. Tension. Inquire tension. There was a feud between the gnomes and the dwarves over something. And instead of going to war, they just left. They left the cave behind. So Damarra looks over and steps forward a bit and says, okay, well, it's really dark in here, but there's still torches. Well, how are there still torches here? How is that possible if nobody lives here? Avon steps forward and says, well, let me throw the dice. What are you talking about, Avon? What do you mean throwing the dice? Then Avon continues to say, let me see if I can detect magic. Maybe these are magical torches. So we're going to throw a spell, first level spell, detect magic. So we're going to cast a spell, detect magic, and if Avon is successful, I will go to the Game Master Emulator and ask, are these torches magic or not? So if Avon rolls a 7 or more, it's a success. A 7 and 9, there's complications, and a 10 plus is a complete success. So let's see if he can detect magic. An 8 plus the modifier of intelligence is 2. That's a 10. Complete success. Good. Now, so Avon can detect magic, but is there magic here? Now we need to roll on the fate chart. So I'm going to say that these torches are somewhat likely to be magical. So somewhat likely, chaos, rank of 5. I need to roll a 65 or below, and it's a yes. An extreme yes, 3. An extreme yes. These are definitely magical torches, all of them. So Avon looks at the team and says, I can sense a great power here. Something I haven't sensed in a long time. And Damarra looks over at Avon and asks, what do you mean by that, Avon? Then Avon looks at the group and says, the only time I've ever sensed this was when I was at the perimeter of Wilona's cave. And in that location there was something sinister. And I have that same sense in this cave. And Gorm looks up. Well, I better get my sword ready then. And then Gorm moves forward and says, then everybody must follow me. And Sinathel also says, I must go in the front as well. I must shapeshift in case something happens. It is quite dark, so I might want to shapeshift into something that can see in the night. So let's say she wants to shapeshift at the current moment into a bat. So shapeshifting, she gets to use her wisdom as a modifier, and her wisdom is at a +2. So let's see if she could shapeshift into a bat. A 9 + 2 modifier, that's an 11. That's a complete success. So there's a hold of 3. Now the hold, I still don't really understand it in Dungeon World, but I use hold, that word hold, especially with the druid, as moves. So she, Sinathel, gets 3 moves as a bat. Then Sinathel transforms into a bat. And I'll put a ring around her in case, one, you could see Sinathel, because it's pretty dark in this cave. It's really hard to see Sinathel with a backdrop, dark floors. And also, if I roll on a random table of bats, you can know which one is Sinathel with that blue ring. Okay, at this moment, Damarra looks at Sinathel and says to her, it is best that you go forward. You can hide amongst the other creatures of this cave in case there's someone here. So Sinathel just flies around in a circle of this location to see if there's anyone here. So let's see, in this location, did she detect anything? So let's roll on the fate chart. Yeah, we'll do that. So let's roll. We're going to be using D100. This first roll doesn't count. I'm going to say that it is, I mean, it's pretty lit up from the magical torches. So you would kind of think they would see in here. It looks very large, but let's see if they do find, or let's see if she did find anything. So I'm gonna just put it at a 50-50. That she noticed something and the rest of the group didn't. Chaos rank of 5, 50 or below, she senses something. Oh wow, that is like the highest extreme yes you can get. I wonder with an extreme yes, it's not that she found someone, she found something. Let me roll on the event, meaning, action, and subject. Let me see if I could think of something right now. So it's a D100 for each. So the action, 16. Again, wow. Inquire. 44. Subject, 44. Prison. Inquire prison. She detects that there's a trap here. Sinathel detects that there's a trap here. Now, I wonder in Dungeon World, can she speak? Can she speak while she's shapeshifted? I don't think she can. So that's going to be one of her moves. So she's down to 2 moves. She detects that there is traps in here, but she can't tell her group that there's a trap without turning back into herself. But I don't know if that's worth it because I got a complete success. So I may want to keep Sinathel as a bat. Okay, so Sinathel is going to stay in bat form. So Sinathel knows that there's a trap in this location or in this cave. She notices something and wants them to stay clear of the trap trigger. But she doesn't want to change back to her normal self, so she flies off in this direction and chirps to them to follow her in this direction. So Sinathel flies to this location and sees, obviously there's a dragon skeleton, treasure, magical torches most likely, and doesn't really sense danger at this moment, lands on the cave wall, and once the team gets a little closer, she will continuously survey the area to see if she, through echolocation, can see if there's movement, is there an enemy, something like that, and we'll find that out by the fate chart. So once the team gets closer to this location, obviously the treasure and the bones, Sinathel will roll on the fate chart and see, or we will roll on the fate chart, not Sinathel, to see if she sees anything. So Gorm tells the rest of the team, okay, follow me and walk slowly. I don't know about this. It doesn't look right. He gets a little closer and sees that there's a big skeleton of a dragon and yells back, there's a skeleton here, a dragon. And Damarra walks up slowly and says, oh yes, I do see it, and stands behind Gorm. Avon is obviously last and all the way to the back because, wizards don't have much HP. They can't take much damage. So Gorm looks back at Damarra. Do you see the treasure? Damarra says, yes, I see it, Gorm. There's a lot of gold there, and rubies and jewels. Who knows what else is in that chest? And Damarra stops Gorm from going closer. Gorm, you don't know. There could be traps everywhere here. We have to go slow. Then Avon gets closer and notices that it is indeed a dragon skeleton. Now, Avon is a human wizard, and in Dungeon World, a human can choose 1 cleric spell. Now, when I made Avon long ago, when I first started this channel, I chose the cleric spell, Speak with Dead. Now, it didn't say dead humans or dead people or dead creatures, it just says dead. First level. Ask 3 questions of life and death. So I'm going to use Avon here to ask the dragon, the creature, because you can speak with the dead if you successfully cast, to see, a little bit about this dragon's life or its death or how it died, or we'll find out right now. So Avon gets a little closer. Let's roll. It's a 2d6. Now we'll roll on the second roll. This one doesn't count, so let's see. 11 plus 2 modifier of intelligence is 13, so that's a complete success. Thank goodness. So Avon starts channeling with the spirit of the dead dragon and tells the group, okay, everybody, I'm going to speak with the dead dragon spirit. I get 3 questions to ask of its life and death. So what should I ask it first? And Damarra says, how did it die? And Gorm says, that's a good one. Yes, how did it die? I was going to ask what color it was. What does that have to do with anything, Gorm? I don't know, I just like red dragons. I was hoping it was red. Avon just shakes his head and goes, okay, whatever. And looks at the dragon and channels with its spirit and locks in. Then you can hear a hissing from the dragon. As it most likely told Avon, what is it that you need from me? Avon asks, how did you die, dragon? Then the dragon replies, that's the first question. Avon looks at the team and says, he said he died by a single man, an unarmored man, slayed him. And Damarra looks at Avon, are you telling me that one man, unarmored, slayed this big dragon? And Avon said, yes, that is what he told me. What should I ask it next? And Damarra says, what weapon slayed him, Avon? And Avon said, that's a good question. Then Avon asked the dragon's spirit, what type of weapon did this unarmored man have that slayed you? And the dragon responds, Then Avon looked at the group and said, the dragon's spirit said that the man held a great sword, and that was it. Nothing else. So Damarra looks at Gorm. A great sword, huh? And Gorm looks at Damarra. Yeah, I heard that. Interesting. Then Damarra asks, we have one more question, correct, Avon? And Avon said, yes, one more. And Gorm says, good. I can't count. If you guys remember, what was it, episode 2? Or read. I wasn't counting, so we have one more. Ask the beast, what did the man look like? And Damarra looked at Gorm, and then looked at Avon, and said, ask the dragon, what did this man look like? Avon said, okay, and asked the dragon, dragon spirit, what did this man look like? And the dragon spoke, and the hissing slowly dissipated away, as that was the end of the third question. Avon didn't answer immediately, and Damarra and Gorm looked at Avon saying, what happened? Why aren't you answering? Did he not answer the question? Then Avon walked up to Gorm slowly and said, the dragon's spirit said the man that slayed him looked a lot like you. And Damarra immediately looked at Gorm, and Gorm to Damarra. And then Damarra said, do you think it could be? And Gorm looked around, said, I don't know. It's been so long. Who knows? And Avon looked at both of them. What are you guys talking about? And Damarra looked at Avon and said, it's okay. We'll talk about it later. And let's roll a fate roll right now for Sinathel, seeing if she notices anything, if there's movement or something happened. This should be her second move. So, and I'm debating on taking her out of bat form because she knows too much now about there's bad traps here, and she needs to tell her group about it. But before we do that, let's use her echolocation and see if she notices anything in this room. So it's going to be a D100. The first roll doesn't count. The re-roll does. So, chaos rank of 5. I'm going to say, you know, they made a lot of noise. I'm just going to say it's 50-50. 50 or below, something is here. And that something is an enemy. Whoa, almost a no. So there is something here. There's something in the dark that is hiding. 49, huh? So there's something in the dark hiding, and it's about to probably attack. Now, what could be in the dark? How many of them are there? Who knows? I'll have to roll on tables to find out. But you will find out on the next time on Wilona's Cave with our Group Adventurers series. We're going to end the episode here. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, etc. Please share, comment, subscribe. We're going to, I would say, lower the chaos rank on this. So we're going to go to chaos rank or chaos factor 4 because they did pretty well here. We finished the thread. We did keep our promise, our first thread from long ago. If you have been watching for a while, from long ago, keep promise with guard, Gumach, and speak with sheriff. We finished that. So that thread is done. We have a thread of meet with Kipper, but that's after this. Any new NPCs? Yes, we do. We have Sheriff Corfell, that is up and about, feeling a lot better. Has told us to look for their deputized sheriff of the town of Acton. We still haven't looked for him in this location. There's gonna be probably some XP going around here to the team. They still have not have enough XP accumulation to get to level 2. They're still all at level 1. I'm gonna most likely be I used some Perilous Wild charts on these caves, but I'm going to be using them as well on the next episode of this, and some Xanathar Guide to Everything and some other things like that to get some things going. But it looks like we're going to be going through a battle. I think this is going to be the first battle of this team, this group. So if you've been watching for a while and liking these episodes, remember one thing. Gorm, Damarra, Sinathel, Avon, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they have not gotten into a battle yet. So that's just to show you that the narrative in solo, I'm by myself, everyone. In solo, the narrative can be extremely fun. There's no combat. Usually people saying if there's no combat, it's boring. We have yet to go into a combat. And what is this? Episode 10? I'm not too sure. I gotta re-look at it when I make the thumbnail. But yeah, isn't that amazing? But it looks like they're going to be going into a battle here pretty soon. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying all the comments that I'm getting. Good, bad, or ugly, I'll take it all. So, happy gaming, everybody. Bye.